Welcome to The Current, where we talk about water flow. No.
The Current.
We were both like,
What the heck are we
It took me like a second to get it.
Yeah.
The Current.
Welcome to The Current, where we talk about current events, things that are going on in the world, and we try to end with a Christian perspective.
Yes.
I try and talk about that the whole time.
Today we're going to talk about, there's not much going on in the world,
Oh my gosh.
except for that whole Ukraine and Russia situation.
Yeah, what about
So
global warming?
let's talk about, no. We're going to talk about
Okay.
Russia and the Ukraine.
Okay.
So
What can you tell us about it? Anything new or specific about it, or just where it's going, where our opinion is on it?
it's been about a week now, right?
Yeah.
Since the invasion began.
A little less than that, but close. Yep.
Okay.
I had heard, see, the problem is with a lot of the stuff that goes on in current event, you don't know what to believe and what not to believe.
Great point.
And,
You just don't know.
you just don't know. I've heard that that Russia has got nukes ready to go, like they've armed them.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
I think Putin himself said that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
That-
think
that-
we can bank on that. That they moved them or got them ready.
Poland has opened up their borders to people of the Ukraine to come in. Just
500,000
open it up and said, get over
refugees.
here. And
500,000 refugees so far. Looks like Russia is almost completely taken over 2 cities. Again, we don't know for sure all of that.
I'm still not super clear on the reason for this. I mean, we've heard, or I've heard from American media sources what they say about what Putin said, a week ago about,
Yeah. these
these are independent parts or whatever, and he's protecting people. I'm still not sure I understand
But Putin
what
also
the point
said
is.
that Ukraine they were making first strikes, that Ukraine was threatening Russia in some way, shape, or form. He was responding. Now, I think generally the whole world said that's a bunch of hogwash. That's not
Yeah.
true. Nobody really bought that, but he did say that. But it seems to be where we're at today is that Russian military has moved in. They have attacked. I think as of this morning, there was about 350 people killed and 500,000 refugees. And most of the people killed, if not all of them killed, were civilians. However, Ukraine is fighting back. It appears that Russia is definitely a bigger army, stronger, could do this. They thought they were just going to roll in and do it in a day. Ukraine is really holding up very well, fighting back. But I think the most interesting current event is how the West is coming to Ukraine's defense in the way that there's already countries giving hundreds of millions of dollars.
Didn't Biden ask for like $6 billion or something in support? Like, that is not a small chunk of change.
And the UK and other countries have already committed dollars to this.
Yep.
And I think some equipment and military type things. So nobody is really so far getting involved in this, but they are supporting Ukraine. And so then you got to say, well, why? I remember the last time we were here talking about this, you were just pondering the thought of, what about world events? Who, a bully in the neighborhood, or it's not our neighborhood, those kind of things. I think what everybody's just asking, when, how much do we get involved, those kind of things.
Yep.
Do we put American lives there? I think it's way too early for that. Nobody's even suggesting that at this point quite yet. But so why get involved is an interesting question. When the guy starts threatening nukes,
That's a pretty big deal.
it's a pretty big deal.
It's a pretty big deal.
I've also heard that could be the start of World War III. He starts putting nukes out in other.
Nobody's going to fire a nuke in an aggressive manner and not get a response. Okay?
That's pretty impossible. One of those goes off will
Yes.
be the start of World War III. And now that you're playing with big boy toys, you're talking about, I mean, casualties that we've never seen before. When we talked about this off air last week, I am still kind of in that camp of like I think it was called like like the imperial sorts of years or that imperialist mindset. I might be screwing up my history class, but let's us as Americans, as a nation, from a governmental perspective, I'm not talking about us personally, I'm not sure we need to get involved in this. Now, if other things were to happen, I'd probably change my mind. But right now, even in sending aid, why as a government would we send aid? Now, I'm not against organizations doing that in private companies and charities and even ministries if they want to. But when you look at the government speaking or acting on behalf of the American people as a whole, why would we get involved in someone else's fight? I'm not sure I'm there yet.
Yeah, and it's a good argument. I'm not sure you and I are on the same page with that. I think there's an obligation as humans, and I know you're speaking different than, hey, I'll personally help out with the Red Cross versus our government sending over troops.
Totally.
However,
Or dollars even.
Or dollars. However, the world has become a big neighborhood. And when the world watches a bully in the neighborhood picking on and even taking somebody else's lunch and threatening where would it stop taking somebody else's lunch and just doing that. And I'm not saying that I know where that line is, but I really believe we have got to think like a neighborhood more than, if we went back 100 years even, it would be different.
Yeah.
But right now, the world is a big neighborhood. All of our economies count on one another. That's why, just holding back and all these countries are doing these, what do they call them, sanctions against, which hopefully has an effect.
Except China.
Yeah.
But, so take the neighborhood bully analogy. Ukraine lost its lunch because the bully stole it, right?
Yeah.
Well, why would we be offering our lunch when as a country, we already owe 130 trillion lunches to China? I don't have any lunch to give anymore.
Okay, now you got to back up and look at a bigger picture. We're just talking about one little thing about helping out militarily and other countries getting picked on. But you just opened up a can of worms to say, let's back up, and we got to rethink everything about how we run our country and why we do what we do.
Shouldn't that be where we start from with all decisions?
Well, I wish we would have started that before there was a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. But we should take care of Russia and Ukraine, which I don't have the answer, but we should work that way. But we should always be working on how we we're getting off our topic here, but I think our country
I
is
think this is
so
called
far
Three Guys
off.
BSing.
What we have allowed the United States government to become is absolutely ridiculous. And we could go into, we should spend a couple of series on this, but it's just ridiculous where we've gotten so far from, have you ever thought of what's our government? If you had a business, you run a church. One of the first things you do to be successful is to identify what business are we in? Our government is in the business of keeping us free, providing infrastructure, and very little else, monitoring big companies, things like that. But our schools, what are they created to do? To educate our children. And we have taken the responsibility away from parents to educate. No, I'm sorry, to partly watch their education. But isn't it a parent's responsibility to teach morals and values? Yes. Well, we've passed that on to our schools. Now you teach them morals and values. Yep. No, we've passed on isn't our responsibility to take care of our family and friends in our own neighborhood? Yeah, we've just passed that on. Let the government do.
There's programs out there.
The government is not, okay, this might seem extreme, but we got to work back in this direction.
Yeah.
Where the government needs to clarify again, what is our job? Our job is to keep this nation safe from enemies, number one. Our second job is to maintain freedom for all members,
citizens,
for all citizens and provide infrastructure and protection of commerce going on. I mean, there's some other things, but we have
It's pretty simple.
It's very simple. And so what you're talking about is our government has gotten so far beyond what a government is called
Absolutely.
to do in a free democracy like ours.
And so how do we start move? Okay, so we need to move that direction.
We elect the right people as a start.
Yeah. But I don't know. I can't understand why Biden would ask for it and why Congress would. Has Congress approved the money yet?
Not that I heard.
Okay, so I don't know why they would
At least not at this point.
approve. Yeah, as of recording this, why they would approve sending $20 over there from the government of the United
Okay,
States.
again, you have got to first get the government of the United States to understand this thing. If you don't have any money, you can't buy anything.
Remember that Steve Martin
Yes,
clip
that's
from
what I was reminded
SNL?
of.
I wrote this book. It's 1 page long.
Yeah. Well, let me understand this. If I don't have any money, I can't buy anything? What you mean is,
Well, can I put it on credit and buy it later? No, it's really
No.
simple.
okay, our government has got to get. I was thinking before that the only strong government in the world you can't have a strong government unless you have low debt and cheap energy. I mean, that's just a couple, but just off the top of my head, come on, you can never be a strong nation without cheap energy.
Yep.
And without, owing another country everything you have. It just doesn't.
Everything you have for the next 100
We've gotten
generations.
so far off. You are bringing up some great topics that, now we got all this mess and you're asking this question over here. We've got to get back to some principles. If you don't have any money, you can't buy anything.
So what does that mean we should do, though, right now? Okay, so who are
Right
we?
now.
We're three guys sitting in a studio. Probably can't do much except talk about it and be vocal.
If it was my opinion, right now,
What should we do with
what
Ukraine?
should we do? And even being humanitarian and understanding the world is a big neighborhood and our Christian obligation.
I was going to say, are you going to split up your answer into an American citizen, a Christian,
No, I think we can put them all into one.
Okay.
Right now, where we find ourselves today, if you found yourself with your family or whatever it is, I think right now at the escalated state it's at, number one, we monitor closely. Number two, the only way to monitor closely is to get some accurate information, which I'm not aware that we have. I'm sure somebody does. But monitor closely, talk to the other nations close to them. A lot of them are helping. And ask yourself right now at this point, do they need the help? And if they do, how much?
And what type?
And how else can we help without spending what we don't have or giving what we shouldn't? Taking care of ourselves is first. I just got back this morning on an airplane, and they haven't changed it. If the loss of oxygen pressure comes, you'll have a mask come down. Put this over your mouth, and even if the bag doesn't inflate, you still have oxygen coming in. What's the last thing they say?
Put yours on first.
If you have young children with you, put yours on first.
Yep.
Why? Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't help anybody. It is a principle, again, that we have to.
It was totally violated.
Yes, we've totally violated. So in my humble opinion, the Christian, the humanitarian, even the government thing to do right now is to continue to monitor closely, continue the sanctions, and keep pressure on Putin. And if you can get somebody over there to assassinate him, do that. But I don't. Okay, that might not be the Christian thing to do.
I was gonna say, I think we just left out of the Christian part.
Hey, and monitor, influence, and pray. Those three things. At this juncture, it could change overnight.
I think there's even more stuff we could do as a country.
With sanction type stuff, or
Well, sanctions are one thing. I mean,
Why don't we just call sanctions what it is? Capitalism. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? We don't like what you're doing,
Yeah.
and so we're not going to deal with you anymore.
anymore.
It's amazing
Or sell
how
products
many
to you, or-
anti-capitalist people in power and on Twitter are now suddenly pro-capitalist just because we call it something different.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's all about the wording.
we could spend a week on that
just
topic
that
alone.
topic. It's amazing to see how many people who are anti-Second Amendment are now all in favor of the Ukrainian government handing out assault weapons to their citizens.
Yeah.
It's just anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go
Mine
ahead.
kind of goes into that same vein. If we were serious about really hurting Russia, we would open up our fracking again. We would open up our pipelines and become energy independent, and then we wouldn't have to buy their oil, and then that takes away their money source. Their main money source is oil. So if we took away their oil, or their
Well, I thought
our
that's what
reliance on
sanctions
their
were.
oil,
We're not buying anything from Russia right now, are we? I'm not aware. I thought that's what this was
I know
about.
I saw on TikTok there's I don't know if it's a Quick Trip or a Hy-Vee or a Circle K or whatever, some like little gas station in Iowa. You go into their liquor section and they're not selling any Russian wines.
Good.
It's a piece.
Good.
It's a piece, you know.
I heard it was in Ohio that the governor, right, and this may be wrong, but this is what I heard. Again, you don't know what sources you're looking at. Similar thing. He asked all of the liquor stores and bars to take all their Russian vodka and Russian liquors off the shelves.
The
To
problem,
dump them. I mean, you've already.
the problem is
spent
you've
that
already
money.
bought it. Just don't buy any more.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
Just don't sell them.
Yeah,
So,
just don't
and
sell
keep
it.
in mind, at the same time, if you have a Russian neighbor, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
You love people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is the Russian government in their behavior right now that we are going to boycott or sanction or be
See,
against.
that's why I think this whole response to what's going on shouldn't yet be governmental. It's got to be other. It's got to be smaller, more personal decisions.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if nobody supplies Ukraine with what they need, Russia could roll over them tomorrow. Do we care? Yes, we care. What
Yeah.
do you do? I don't have the exact answer,
don't
but I know
either.
this. You got to you can't solve a problem until you first understand what it is. And I personally don't have enough information. I'm not
To
sure
know.
our government has enough information.
What do you think about the whole? I don't know if you guys have heard the conspiracy theories with all this. I don't know if it's going to get our video banned on YouTube, but that Biden, Pelosi, Harris, and like one other guy all have, I think it's close relatives in major Ukrainian energy or some sort of businesses. And like the only reason the U.S. even get involved right now
Kerry was
is
the other
because
one.
of,
Oh yeah, John Kerry.
yep, is because we're trying to protect some personal stuff. And then you can go down the whole rabbit hole of information and government cover-ups. And I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you do?
We've
I have
got
no idea.
to. If we're going to be a sovereign nation in 10 years, we've got to make some major moves with some of these
It does not appear to be that
fundamental
way.
principles of this country and what it stands for and what makes us different than the rest of the world and what I think most people in America still value, and that is our freedom. And in order to do that, we have got to make some major overhauls.
Yeah.
And here's the problem, because I was thinking about that for
Feels
the
like
last
farting
3 or
against
4
thunder,
days.
though.
You know, here's the problem with making major overhauls. You got to say no. And it hurts. You know, in your own home or your own business, when you make adjustments because you're going the wrong direction, you discipline yourself for a while. It hurts to get better. And I'm not sure as a nation anyone's willing
ready for the hurt?
Anyone's willing to hurt. We just want to keep living in the shade of the generations before us. We want to keep living, keep spending, keep doing what I want to do and not pay for it, you know? And it's the saddest thing in the world, but it has to be. And I believe that if anybody's going to make this adjustment, you don't do it overnight, but you do a 20-year plan. We're going to start today with a 20-year plan to help people be more personal responsible, to help people take care of their own families and themselves and not rely on government, to help people, you know, actually to be more responsible. I think I was even thinking of something really dumb, like, you know what, I was just dreaming that if I was the governor of Minnesota, one of my first things would be in 2 years, I want to eliminate 600 laws.
You could do that easily. There's so many on the books that people don't even
But
know
again,
about.
not making major changes, but we've got to start going a right direction.
But the problem with that is, and this is like, I'm just so pessimistic with politics lately. How do you even begin a 20-year plan when our current president, 7 minutes after the inauguration, signed how many executive orders
Yeah.
completely nullifying everything that had been done the
Right.
previous 4 years? Like, I'm so much at the point of just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever, just give up. Nothing matters anymore. Okay, stuff matters, but
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do to make it matter.
Well, not today, but at least if there could be a movement in this nation to vote for people who feel the same way and getting people organized, unity, I say it forever, 5% of the population can get the whole population to legalize something that most of the population thinks ridiculous.
Less than 5% has done it already.
Yeah. So
Do we have time for another big question or no?
We got 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Is that enough time?
I don't know.
Did
45.
you finish your Christian whatever? He kind of shared his all-in-one what we should do with Ukraine.
Pray.
Did you finish?
Yeah, pray is the big thing. Just as civilians and not having any power over any of that, that's really the only thing we can do. And it's just like vote with your money. You know, where are you spending your money? You know, but that's pretty much all we can do.
Yeah, I would agree with. I've already said mine. Just leave it out of the government. Leave it in the private sector right now until something changes. So,
Yeah.
what was your?
Well, I another thing that had come up was 45 is always in the mouth of the media, so I figured I'd bring that up. He's been slammed for calling Putin a genius.
The only reason they're slamming him is because they're taking that quote out of context.
Oh, yeah.
If you listen to the rest of what he says, he's obviously not pro what's going on.
No.
He's just talking about.
What he wants to accomplish, Putin, this is the right time to make that move.
Absolutely, it is.
You know, the West is weak,
I would.
and I have all the money, so why not move now?
I would totally stand on. I know a lot of people would disagree, but I totally believe the only reason this is happening right now is because of the administration that we have. This wouldn't have happened
Us
in
in
the
Canada,
previous
both.
4 years. Totally, the West is weak right now, and he knows it because he's not dumb. He's wrong, and there's evil in his heart, but he ain't stupid.
Right. He waited and waited and waited, and now's the time to move.
So,
Yeah. And I believe he even made the comment that the wokeism, Putin did, that wokeism is what's killing the Western civilization.
oh,
Duh.
So how come he could see it?
he's not stupid.
No. Then people have said, is he crazy? I don't think he's crazy at all.
Wokeism is crazy.
Yes.
It's irrational.
Do I think he's
Absolutely.
right?
Totally irrational.
No. Do I
No,
think
he's
he's
not right at all.
But is he crazy? No. He has what is in his head of what I want to do, and he picked the right time to make the move.
Yeah.
Whether the move is right or not,
No, the move is wrong. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do it.
that's not the point. The point is he's not crazy.
He's a strategist.
He strategized and got the move done when he wanted it done at the most opportune time. And he
This is why our role as Christians and our role in the church as well is more important than ever.
Yep.
Because ultimately, whatever happens in Ukraine and Russia and governments involved or not, and World War III, you know what? We've seen it in the other wars throughout history. 200 years from now, nobody's going to remember. 1,000 years from now, nobody's going to even know. But the whole Christianity thing, that'll matter.
I don't mean to correct you. However, it's just a minor little thing. It's not more important than it's ever been, but it is more urgent than it's ever been.
Yeah. Is it more urgent? There's
It
more
is.
people disconnected than ever before.
Yeah.
It's always
It's
been just
always
as
been
urgent.
just as
Always just
important.
important. Always just as meaningful. I know how do
More
you say it.
urgent today than it has been in the past. Things are moving
I
quicker.
suppose urgent
things
in
are
the sense
bigger.
that we're a day closer to the end than we were yesterday.
Urgent in the fact that everything moves quicker is even in our culture with media and all things like that. The urgency of not losing the Christian message is really, really there.
Sure.
The Christian message has always been just as important.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a fine tune, but I just think so we can think about it that way.
Yep.
I think the urgency, if anyone is a Christian, the urgency to engage in the Christian movement today is at an all-time high.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, I think we solved the world's problems.
Yeah. All right. Next, global warming.
Perfect.
That's what you want to
I
go
would
with?
love to talk about that.
Well, maybe that's what we'll hit. Unless something else.
Unless something else in the water comes up next week.
Oh, see? Nice tie-in. Nice tie-in.
Full circle.
Yeah, there we are. All right, we'll see you next week.